And hello, everybody. It is Pseudo. It is Tuesday. It is MMO Buff's Campfire. It is all about communities, all about guilds, all about, in today's episode, gaming absurdities. Cheeky face. And I am joined by the two awesomest peoples like evers in like the community typey things. My hostess is what the mostess is. I am joined by Ed Screenager.
Hi, I've just found out literally as the show went live, deep fried donut bacon cheeseburgers are a real thing.
They are.
No.
Sorry, I can't do the show. We gotta go find these things. We'll be back later.
BRB going to go get no. All right, and then of course we are joined by the lovely Blankspace, who is leader of the Viking Nation.
Hello, folks. Hope you guys are having a great day.
Yes, so today is literally all about gaming absurdities. We have got quite a few stories to share with you guys. We don't have our guest today. We got timing's a little screwed up. Hopefully we'll have a guest next week.
No.
Oh?
We didn't. He did.
Oh, are we trolling him? Is that what we're doing?
No, we're blaming him.
We're
Because I put BST
right.
in caps repeatedly across the emails.
Right. Okay. Sometimes it's easier to just put UK time and then people go, oh, that's something a little different.
Yeah, I did that too.
Okay. Well, there you go. So apparently we're trolling a guest we don't even have yet. Ha! Welcome to the
Get in an
campfire.
alley. It's
just
alright,
prepping.
you can take it.
Ah. So yes, I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who is here early and prepping. And this particular episode is all about the stories that you just sit back and you're like, wow, I can't believe that happened, or something along those lines. Things that literally stick with you for years because of the memories that they happen to and leave on us. So it started from a conversation we had last week. Do you guys remember that?
I don't remember last night.
No. Where are we?
Well, I'm in the UK. Screen is somewhere on planet Mars. And you're in the Viking meat hall?
This is
The
correct.
Viking meat hole. Using the Viking
Mead.
meat.
Mead
Mead.
Hall.
I'm gonna go with the Viking meat hole.
This is
Mead
where we
hole.
keep all the
Mead hole.
meat. This
The
is where we
meat.
keep all the big sausage. You know what I'm saying? This is where we keep all the meat. Right here.
The hand
And that
motions.
hole.
Hand motions make me think huge tracts of land. For those of you who understand Monty Python references and things like that. But yes, so we're going to be going around telling stories that have been sent in by our viewers, as well as stories that we ourselves have found ourselves in that are absurd, is the only definition I can come up with. And if you have something you want to share with us that you haven't had a chance to get into us, leave us a comment in chat. And what we'll have to do at the end of this is figure out what is the most absurd thing that we've heard and kind of give it a rating scale and just pick the top absurd thing that's currently ever happened. So, all right. So who do we want to go first? Blank, I'm going to let you pick a story to go first because you've always had amazing stories for us. So why don't you start us off by just picking one of the many stories that have been brought from you and tell us your story.
Oh, where to start? I'll start with one of the more absurd ones. Just in the scope. It's down towards the bottom here. I started gaming a long time ago, but to date it, 1998 was when I officially started gaming. And I met a couple of folks who were a little older than me, been on the whole internet scene a little bit longer, and they dealt with virtual currency, which back then was still such a crazy thought. They hugely got into MUDs, and there were some MUDs that you could pay to do stuff. Like there was a pay model, so they would buy something in the game and then they would sell it to other people or sell accounts, and I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. Now they've launched hugely in Diablo 2, and we're talking like multiple accounts. This is all they did all day. They just sat there. They're like millionaires, multimillionaires now, and all they do is play with virtual currencies. And it's funny because I won't talk to them for a couple of years, and I'll play a game like I played Rose Online and ran into one of them and was like, what are you doing? He was like, this is a ripe economy. We're here. Terra Online, when they have certain box specials and stuff. So yeah, there are those people out there that make a living in a much different way. But I wanted to share that because it still blows my mind every once in a while. I'll be like, oh, this website is owned by these people. I know these guys. So, first one of the day.
First one of the day. Okay. Screen, do you want me to skip over you to start and just go straight to me?
Go on. You look like you have more content in our document. Now, we have notes we prepare. So yeah, go ahead. I'll keep an eye on chat.
Okay. Radio. So I'm going to pick one of the ones that was sent in. And I'm kind of going to go with two because they're from the same person. One of our hosts here at MMOBuff, Dr. Marshmallows, has a rich and varied experience in raiding. Hardcore raiding to the fact of, you get 5-minute bathroom break, and if you're not back, you're kicked from guild kind of hardcore raiding. And he, at one point in time, had to tell people in the middle of a raid, I need to go take care of a koala that has just entered my house. Now, for those of you who don't know, Dr. Marshmallows is Australian. And let's just say it didn't go over well with the guild at all. And koalas are not as nice as people think they are. They are not the squishy, lovable things. But somehow a koala got into his house and was wreaking havoc. And he had to go take care of it in the middle of the raid. And the guild at the time did not like this. And then you mix in the fact that when he was a younger player, again, doing hardcore raiding, his family decided they wanted pizza for dinner. And what they did is they said, we want you to go pick up the pizza. And he says, no problems. I'll go pick up the pizza. So he got in his car and he drove away. What he did not know was that at the time, his parents wanted to know who he was gaming with. So they got on to vent and were talking to this hardcore raiding guild, trying to figure out what was going on, trying to figure out who these people were. Incredibly uncomfortable experience to have to come back from. But it was just one of those, wow, your parents went there. Now, I'll take my hat off because the parents should kind of be aware of what their kids are up to. But when you're in a hardcore raiding guild and you have someone going, so you know my son how? That's a little awkward. Just a tiny bit
awesome.
awkward. But
That's
yes.
awesome.
Oh, man. Poor guy. But yes.
Great parents.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Great parents, but at the same time, wow. Just wow. So, we have another story from you then, Blank?
Well, I have one that's just like that, and I knew this was going to happen, so I didn't try to write them all down. We had a kid who, and this actually turned into, we're going to keep this, campfire related. This is something you can learn and put in your toolbox later. When you're interviewing folks, we had a raider. We're in the middle of the raid. It's like, I got to take the trash out. I forgot or something, right? And he leaves, and the next thing we hear is Mama Bear, and she's like, hey, can you hear me? And we're raiding. We ended up wiping anyways, so I'm like, hi, how can I help you? I'm the raid leader. She's like, my son is not doing the things he needs to do, and was like, she was mad. And so I think at this time I, was a sergeant in the military. It's like, listen, ma'am, here's the deal. Your son has to be adult enough to take care of his stuff. What we're going to do on our end is we're going to kick him off the team for now. He can rehab his spot. I think it was 2 weeks or a month. If he does his stuff, feel free to come on here anytime. Please know that you're going to be hanging out with gamers, but there may be some really coarse language. However, you're welcome here anytime. She was like, I don't care about the language. I care about my son. And bro, it was great. 2 weeks later, shows up. He's doing a million times better in school, taking care of all of his stuff. He's like, can I come back and raid? I'm like, only if your mom says you can. So,
see,
literally.
That's the thing, it goes back to the story that we have with an Enigma. We have actually banned people from raiding because their grades have dropped. We've banned people because they're not getting enough sleep, as a learning experience, as Blank says, take this toolbox. Don't be afraid to go no for the benefit of the health of your gamers, because if you burn your gamers out, you ain't got nothing for you. You're just going to have more stress than you need. Don't
be afraid to talk to the parents or the family in the background either. We used to have a guy called Chris in our guild, who we used to know his mum, because she used to loiter in the background. She'd come in, you'd hear her in the background. She'd be like, at one point we were explaining what was going on to her. She's like, we're sitting in a Bessa and Aeon, and we've got 200 people going on. I've got 7 ventrilos going on and talking to people, and then everything's just interrupted to explain to Chris's mum exactly what's going on in the middle of this. I got these Italians talking to me in one ear Well, this guy's mum's like, so what are you going? Why are you all there? Like, God. But never be afraid to talk to the parents because it's gonna happen. People have lives.
Yeah. And same thing with spouses as well, because spouses can get
Yeah.
involved. Oh, there's a story. Sorry. It's just the whole concept of, almost family counseling from the guild leaders' perspectives. Because, yeah. Oops.
Well,
Go ahead, Screen.
From a purely selfish perspective, a lot of guilds that require a lot of time involved to get they end up having, when you end up making some sort of relationship with people that loiter in the background and shout at people, and parents that are demanding time with their kids, or spouses that would otherwise be like, who you spend the time with, if they have a relationship at least with the guild, someone in the guild, even just from the sense of them being a voice in the background and you responded, they're more likely to give your guild member less hassle. So from a purely serious point of view, talk back to the people shouting at you in the background and vent, because at the end of the day, if you're going to build that relationship with your guild member, you build it with the person loiter in the background, they're more likely to give you a bit more leeway to say, can you stay at the end of this raid?
Well, it's what we do with you and the lovely lady who happens to occasionally show up in the back of your screen. Had a lovely conversation with her today before the show. I needed her permission. It's the only way we can get you, Screen, is if we have her permission. We know how this works.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm whipped. Yeah, right, that's fine.
Nothing wrong with that.
True. I'm moving on.
Go ahead, Blank. Throw another great story out from the past.
We're gonna try to mix them up between absurd and serious and funny. So, and we've said this before. Raid leader talking to one of the raiders. Hey, what's going on? You gotta have your stuff prepared. Gotta be ready. You don't have money. How do you not have money? How do you not have money? Everybody's job is, you get done with the raid, okay, and then you're expected to farm your stuff up. We supply the gems, we supply the enchants. All you got to do is be able to repair. Repairs on you. You got to take care of it. I don't have money, man. So we have to get a loan, blah, blah, blah. I ended up breaking up this entire online, I don't want to call it like a sex ring, but it was a female who was trading boobies and or fun adult time for gold. And depending, there was a whole price chart and
Wait, there was a price chart?
Wait.
Yeah. Oh, it was this much gold is this, and this much gold is this, and then whatever. And because at first, from what I understand, it started with a couple of guys, and then they all found out about each other, and then she wanted to stay in the game. What do good hustlers do, man? They adapt and evolve. So she made a whole chart, and highest bidder wins. It was crazy. But I'd be like, listen, everyone's done. You can't do that. Can't do it. Can't be a part of it. You have to have money. You can't stay and raid and be doing that. So that was a whole thing.
I love this. Blankspace gives the choice to his guildies: happy adult fun time or raiding. Take your pick.
And there were people that were like, Blake, you don't understand. For me to go to a strip club is not a thing. It's this is so much cheaper. I'm spending 20 gold or 50 gold, dude. I get to see boobs. I'm like, listen, I understand the econ part of it. I get it. I understand that it is the very effective way of whatever. However, there's still porn on the internet. You don't need this. You need your money to raid. If you don't have your money to raid, you're out. So
Just wow.
Wow.
Ryakachi is asking, is this in WoW that this occurred?
Yes, this was in World of Warcraft.
It seems that the majority of all crazy shit basically happens from raiding in World of Warcraft.
A lot of mine comes from that. I kept some of them were they were like, this is way too serious, or this is over the top. So I tried to, all those outliers I tried to take out and just get the nice creamy center part of things. But a lot of it's World of Warcraft.
Is this where you're sitting in the meat hole?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
There's a couple from Guild Wars 2. So we kind of had to pick around. But yeah,
Wow. Okay. The stuff you encounter in World of Warcraft is kind of
I
nuts.
think I think I can. I think I can top the. I think I can top in terms of the crazy stuff. I think I can probably top the one about the selling of super fun adult time. Back in Aeon, prior to Afterlife forming, actually, this is why Afterlife ended up forming, and this is why we became no drama. We don't tolerate any sort of drama, which is why I'm short on drama stories.
Not all stories are drama.
No, wait, but this is clearly why the guild that we were in previously, why it ended up falling apart due to and stuff. But basically, we had a girl that ended up getting quite close to the guild leads at the time, and she pretended that she had cancer.
Oh.
Straight up pretended she had cancer. She was eventually found out. It's the internet. People track you down. People call out, holes in your stories and your lies, and eventually, one lie led to another. She ended up having some inconsistencies in her story. People questioned them. Someone found her on the interwebs, found out she clearly didn't have cancer, called it out. The guild leader kicked her. The guild leader brought her back. The guild leader kicked her. Everyone told her, don't bring her back. The guild leader brought her back, and we just went, this, we're off. And that's how Afterlife pretty much formed. So not all the crazy shit has a bad result. But yeah, that's probably the single craziest thing that I have ever had to deal with is someone pretended they had cancer, and the guild lead let it slide at the time. And as an officer, we were just like, nope, don't do it.
Can we frame that for a second? Because one of the biggest things I just learned, it's personal too. Like, I like to give people a lot of benefit of the doubt. And just recently, I heard a story about somebody who was living off their parents, who was able to purchase all sorts of like organic things. All of these indicators said that they were doing okay, but they were telling people that they needed money. They were telling people that they like really needed money. People started donating lots and lots and lots of money to them, not realizing that they were already in a spot like they were okay. Like, and that personally, to me, I hadn't had an episode in a couple of years where this had been refreshed to me. People on the internet can tell you whatever they want. Even if you ask for a camera, all you see is what's behind me. All you see is what is presented. So just be aware of that there are people out there that are going to say that, they have cancer, or that they are something that they aren't. And be able and, first of all, be open-minded, but know that it's going to be a tricky situation to deal with. Some people are just going to say cut it off, and other folks might be more open-minded, especially if some of the cases are not as big. I have a story about that later on, about a guy that pretended to be a girl for a little bit. But we'll get there.
Yeah, I wanted to also bookend this, what you have said, with another thing. I remember within the past year or so, there was a case of a gamer who vanished, just up and disappeared, and the guild got really, really worried about it. And I can't remember which guild it was, and I can't remember the individual, but it basically hit the viral thing, which it does. Gamers gone missing, gamers unite, let's try to find this gamer. And everyone was really worried. People were sending their support, trying to spread the message that this gamer's missing. Have you seen this person? Do you know anything about them? This is a picture of them. They had a whole kind of help us find this individual. Turns out that this is something this gamer has done before in the past. Turns out that this gamer is known for hooking up with people and then just dropping everything behind. Now, it has also been made mention that they did have some difficult mental issues as well. But, when you have a whole bunch of, I guess you could say, I wouldn't necessarily say attention-seeking lies, but when you have something like that occur and you have an entire quote-unquote nation, because the gaming world is massive. We are numerous. We are many. Hello, Anonymous. We love you.
Sorry.
We are Legion. Yeah, I was about to go there. I'm like, I might as well just say hi to Anonymous before going too far there. But, we can do so many things when we get together. And it was what was brilliant for me was watching how the community got together and was like, let's try and find this person. And we had people going, well, I live in this area. I can do some checks. I can print the picture out and take it to the local supermarket. I can do this. But I think what really broke my heart was in the end, this person really didn't disappear. This person was choosing to do something, and they could have just said, I'm leaving, guys. And instead, what they may have done is tainted it for a situation that could really have happened again. Someone could have really disappeared, and it could really be a very serious situation. But when you've been burned so many times, it's that once bitten, twice shy kind of a deal. You know? So, yes, and that's a serious one. But yes, Rabe from Cake or Death says, was in a guild where the leader got close to a girl in the guild, was almost at the point where he was going to leave his wife for her, and then he found out that she was a he.
Oh, that's what we call the Skype confirmation. Yes, I'd like to see you on a video camera.
And now, see, unfortunately, when you say that, Blank, I'm expecting there to also be a price chart in the bottom left. Gold.
Absolutely, a price. Yep. Oh, goodness.
That has just reminded me about the... Right.
You actually
every
have a story?
server has one. I actually remember. Every server has one. Actually trying to get close to a guild lead was how this this person ended up starting coming into a game. It was Aeon again. I've had no major crazies when we were in Guild Wars, but in Aeon there were plenty of them that I think about it. And we're a player. Do I say the player name? No, I won't say the player name. But every server has one crazy that will not care. And they started off like trying to get close to a guild lead, and I think we might have had her in for about maybe 4 or 5 days before I kicked her, because just you can just smell crazy as soon as it happens. And so after we kicked her, maybe a couple of weeks loitering around some different guilds, and then all of a sudden in trade chat it was just like scripture from the Bible and phrases that like bits it was just you're just sitting there going what, and people are responding going and just completely ignoring them and just continuing to like put this stuff in, and you just what would possess you to go on to pay a subscription, pay a $15 subscription to alienate an entire server? What the hell? Every server's got one, and yeah, we have one too.
Just remember, sometimes those crazies, you think you can smell them, but they wear deodorant. Those are the scary ones.
I agree with that.
Let's grab another one here, because I've got a whole bunch of them. Oh, this one's kind of a funny, different, when it comes to absurd stories. This was absurd for the time. Now it's not. It's totally different. But when I first started playing first-person shooters, I joined a competitive team in New England. And so I'm just farm boy, from Maine, and I literally had to bike or borrow somebody's car, which was not a thing. So bike to the train station, get to the train station, got to Boston, and meet everybody. So this is 5, 6 people, 1 female, which was all, like the first time I ever had to deal with being in a sleeping situation with a female that wasn't like a sister. All in this tiny, dinky minivan going all up and down the East Coast to compete. And the best part was, like, we barely, even if we placed in one stuff, barely were able to pay for like gas in the hotel. Sometimes we just slept in the van. It was the grossest thing ever. But that's what it used to be. Nowadays, everyone's like, man, I got this sponsor, and they sent me to the hotel, and blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, I used to ride around a stinky-ass van with a bunch of other people, and that's what it was, in 2000. If you wanted to compete, the only sponsor you get would be like, www.crappyservers.com, and they'd sponsor your TeamSpeak server or something like that, and that was it, so.
Oh, man.
Wanted to share that.
Oh. As I'm choking to death here. Okay, so I'm going to pull out, and I am going to give you all a brilliant story from my raiding days in WoW. Okay, I'm literally giving you out there and my hosts the opportunity to have forever trolling options with this story, because it's a story of something that happened to me. And then we'll get to Tasha's question. Okay. So when it comes to raiding in WoW, you know, this was back in Naxxramas, and I was playing around in Naxxramas, and the guild was in there. This was 25-man Nax, and our guild was one of the first ones going through clearing it out, and we were having fun, etc. And we were talking about, you know, what types of macros you want to have. So, you know, you want to have certain type of macros to make certain you have your trinkets trigger on certain things. You want to have, you know, stop macros for heal spells, you know, all the little things. We were talking about this during raid as we were pulling through the trash because we didn't need to focus. It was on farm at this point for us. We get to a point and my character, now I'm sitting back, my hands are up because we're just having this conversation on vent at the time, and my mouse starts shaking. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. My character starts to move left, move 3 spaces, turn right, move 4 spaces, and then starts running, and then pauses, and then casts a spell, and then turns. Now, my hands are nowhere near my keyboard. My hands are nowhere near my mouse. Nothing at all. And I'm just like, guys, this is really weird. I'm not touching my keyboard. Now, my husband was sitting next to me. He leans over and he's like, what's going on? I'm like, oh my God, I'm being hacked. Holy cow. Someone's actually controlling my character while I am using it and I am sitting here. I freaked out. Now, keep in mind, this is before I went into my educational program. So my character continues. Everyone's like moving to the boss and my character is still in the hallway of slime ooze, moving around, pausing, casting multiple spells on itself, and I'm just freaking the hell out. It took me the entire raid, multiple reboots where the same thing occurred again. The same thing happened again. I'd reboot, come back in, log in. I think I got it, guys. I think I've locked it down. Character starts to move again. Spell casting and everything. This happened repeatedly for the entire raid. The entire guild has made it to like the end of the raid by this point. My character is still in this hallway casting spells on itself. And it took me until the end of the raid to realize I had accidentally pressed record macro on my mouse. So it had recorded the entire start of what we were doing. So it was repeating what I did in the previous, all the previous boss fights. And I had, for some strange reason, instead of it being keybound to back, forward, etc., it was keybound to run macro. So anytime I pressed the heal button, thinking I was going to heal, I turned the macro back on.
That's amazing.
So I officially hacked my own mouse in a raid, and yeah, there you go. You guys now have proper ammunition for me on this, and it was hysterical.
Wow.
And what was funny is the main tank at the time, because he was saying, there's certain macros you don't want to have, and I was sitting there going, well, there are some macros that are going to make sense, and we were having this slight little debate about macros in raids, and then at the end of it I go, oh, it was the macro button on my mouse. He goes, I told you, you don't need macros. And I was just like, I'm done. Done. So there is a mouse hack story for you. Proper trolling in its finest.
That's fantastic.
Are we doing the convention thing?
We can touch on it. I mean, there's certain things that I'm not talking about.
I have at least one public good story I can tell that won't get me in trouble. I'm actually kind of proud of it.
All right, you go.
So does this have to do with the question that Tasha asked?
Yes, she said. Okay, well, first of all, let me tell you. She said, "Let's hear about crazy stuff that happens at gaming conventions." Let me explain gaming conventions. They are like going to Vegas. Yep. As soon as you get off the plane, your cell phone gets turned off. The only thing you're allowed to Instagram is pictures of food, and that's it. You don't talk about it. You didn't see it. You don't want to know about it.
No. Phones are fine. Instagramming's fine. It's just it's only... I take it you're completely incapable of not taking photos of stuff that you're not supposed to.
No, it's other people. I'm good. It's other people that are like, oh, look at what Blank's doing. Let's take a picture. First, and I'm like, what are you doing? I will. Okay, and here, look, I will show you. I got the link right here. So I went with Carbine to PAX Prime. Now, while I was there, I had the opportunity of a lifetime to be able to work with Carbine as their PvP person. I got to talk to folks and explain to them about how awesome Wildstar PvP is. I love it. So for 4 days, I worked as a game tester for the company. Now, people would be like, "What do you do at Carbine?" I'm like, "I'm just a tester. I just am super fanatical about PvP, so that's why I'm here." Now, if you see who these two personalities are, one is now a community manager. The other one that's Pocket, and the other one is Tally. Tally is well known on Twitch. Pocket, most people know who Hillary is. And so what had happened was Tally kept trying to ask around, trying to find out how he'd be able to stream, and like wanted to get into beta. And so Scooter, at the time was a community manager, was like, "You should go talk to that guy. He knows all the answers." So Tally starts coming to me, and he's like, "How do I get into beta? All this sort of stuff." And me, I'm just like, "Oh, hey, nice to meet you." Like, start talking about PvP stuff. So at the end of the night, and yes, I'm not going to describe the rest of how this got here. What I will say is there's this picture, and both of them were under the impression that I was like some huge bigwig developer for Carbine. And then after the fact, we're all like, "No, I just test stuff." And you're like, "Oh. So that was we trolled the shit out of them for an entire night. And this was the culmination of the event. So.
Yeah, conventions can be interesting. Like the instance we were at Gamescom last year. We were finished up at the Carbine party. So we talked to the devs. We had a couple of drinks. We gone by, and afterwards we kind of stuck around for a little while. We were having a drink, so the Carbine devs are off somewhere in the corner having a drink, and we're up at the bar getting cocktails. And some random guy sits down beside us and starts hitting on Amy. So my other half, my fiancée, starts hitting on her and is like, "So who are you here with?" And I'm just kind of sitting there going, "I'm just want to see where this is going," and don't say anything. He's like, "So who are you here with?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm just here with the guild." And he's like, "Oh, I'm here with Blizzard. Yeah, I work on Diablo 3. And she's like, "Oh, that's nice." Turns around, blanks him. I'm just sitting there going, "Yep. Way to go, burn the Blizzard dev."
Wow. Okay.
That's possibly the only clean one that I can tell. The thing about conventions is, like I said, there's a line where you can't say, there's certain things you can't talk about. There are pictures I can't retweet. There are things that happen that I'm forbidden from talking about, and I don't mean the one where we don't mean like the pictures of Aiden hugging a giant scratch from Ice Age.
No.
But there is the one, for example, of you guys. Do you want to tell the raised ones? As you've not so one, the raised one, Josie, where Andy got the new friend.
I'm going to leave. I'm leaving this with you because you didn't bring any stories to the show, so this is my punishment and discipline to you.
Excuse me?
You're being punished and disciplined. And I'm done.
Yep, that's...
It's the campfire.
Anyway, it doesn't just have to be large conventions where the crazies turn up.
No.
Small conventions, the crazies turn up too. Raised is an indie convention that happened in Birmingham, and as Tasha has mentioned it, I'm going to take that as permission by proxy to go through this with the entire internet. So we have a mutual friend called Andy, who's an indie journalist. He's at Res, and he was back at the bar on the evening, and Andy's being a typical journalist, spending fuck all money at the bar and loitering around when someone comes up to him and offers him a drink, just completely random. Now, you, me, I don't know, blank, maybe not Josie, I don't know. If a complete random comes up to you and offers you a drink for no reason, fair enough, there are certain reasons that would happen. But, you still have your wits about you. So this guy comes up to Andy, asks him for a drink. After several drinks, starts explaining several dodgy theories about the war, and then proceeds to call himself the Chocolate Warrior. At which point, Andy suddenly realizes he probably shouldn't have taken that drink. It was certainly interesting. So have your wits about you. There are crazies everywhere, including games conventions. But do realize that some of the stuff stays at gaming conventions. If you want to earn the trust of people that are important, don't burn Blizzard devs. I keep your mouth shut when really bad things happen.
Oh, wow. And yes, that giggle you heard was from the lovely Amy, who was the subject of said thing. Okay. So I'm going to bring in a story of something that was sent in to us from Anti-Snow at Death and Taxes. So we've been lucky to have Anti-Snow get in touch with us with a lovely story, and the story goes as such. And I am going to put a picture up on the screen because he sent a picture in as well. So, picture is there on the screen for you. It is a picture of Firemaw from BWL. And the story goes as such. The most ridiculous boss kill we have ever had was during vanilla BWL. There was a time that Firemaw was impossible to actually tank, so we tested to see if the boss had a leash, like a lot of bosses do. He did not. We proceeded to kite him to Valistra's room, up and down the stairs, throwing dots at him for a good hour. He adds, I star sharded. So most of the people died multiple times from the flame buffet. The gates were never implemented at this time, so we just corpse ran back over and over and over until we actually killed him. It is a secret world first on their behalf, which they didn't announce until years after, since it clearly was not the way the boss was intended to be killed. So, this in its own right is a lovely little story that says not always is the content that you are approaching finished, and sometimes you can have odd things that occur to you. So to you, Anti-Snow, thank you so much for sending in that and a screenshot to go with it. Picture, I just love the fact that you see the mage missiles coming up because, you know, you see Firemaw up on a ledge and you see all these wrath spam being thrown. It's just a great picture. Absolutely brilliant picture. But yes, so I throw that story in there.
Shall we roll another one?
Oh, yes. I am all for the stories. So bring another one in.
We'll do ones that I've already said before. We'll just, as part of a hardcore rating application, I was asked if I was willing to wear adult diapers during progression content. My response was no. I will follow somebody, and I will take care of my bodily functions in a timely manner, but y'all are crazy. So we're just right there. And I'm sure most people knew this one. This was not mine, but there was a female, very prominent, was well known in Burning Crusade, who literally said, you have to live within my area or be able to drive to me, and I will have sex with you if you'll buy me a flying mount.
Oh, I remember this.
Everybody, I mean, most people remember that. She was like, you know, you don't have to be pretty. You got to, you know, and she had all her conditions, like you got to wear protection and, you know, you have to come to me. And then she put a picture up. She was an attractive looking female from what I remember. So, yeah, that was, there was that, for those of you who've never heard of that.
Wow. Just.
Yeah. And the funny little sexy one here was I did date a female who would love to come over when I would play World of Warcraft Battlegrounds in Arena, because this was back before I streamed. She used to think it was like super sexy. She legitimately would like watch, because I used to get like so, like when I stream now, I get kind of excited, but like, you know what I mean? Was
you don't
not
get heated.
The same. Oh, I used to be a rage monster. I used to break stuff. It was great. But I dated her, and I used to be like, so what? I don't understand. First of all, I mean, I don't understand women at all, but I don't understand this. And she's like, you get so intense, like your whole body, and you're moving, you're like yelling at your computer. She's like, it's so hot. So that was amazing. That was a good time in college.
I like that he just finishes the whole story with, that was just amazing, just so that you know. It was a great time. All fun had by all. He didn't have to pay gold for it. It was great.
Very rare. Just as a rare real life drop. These are not very often you will find this epic. Oh God, but it was very interesting. Yeah.
Well, see, that leads me right into the story of something that happened in Enigma a while ago. There was a couple that played in Enigma, and this is the reason why we have instituted on our TeamSpeak servers push-to-talk rules. Everybody is forced to use push-to-talk. You can't use voice activation or anything else like that, because the couple in question decided to leave on TeamSpeak in continuous transmission in the main room and proceeded to dance the horizontal polka, to quote the guilty who gave me this story today. And they had to be moved rooms. They had to be moved rooms, and then of course, approached afterwards, because don't need to be broadcasting that business to everybody.
What? Wait, you mean someone had the authority to move from room, but they didn't then rename the TeamSpeak room that they moved them to?
I don't know about that one. They may have named the Love Shack. I don't know.
I would do.
Get it on.
I don't know, but it's
no. You can't not do that. If you have TeamSpeak admin rights, the first thing you do is you move them. You change the room name to something like Love Shack, and then put some Barry White music bot in there with them.
Dude, crank that up. Dude, I wonder if they could have heard you and been like, hey, Smack,
let's get it on.
Yeah, dude, I'd crank this. That would have been amazing. Man.
Oh, man.
Or if you're feeling particularly vindictive, recording some of it. Just to play back later. Just randomly to play back later.
But see, how can it be vindictive if it's the kind of thing that, I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning was. I don't know why they did what they did, whether they forgot or whether it was just one of those things where they're like, let's see how long we can... I don't know their thinking.
They were practicing for more, voyeuristic things. They were just like, we'll just leave this on. I doubt it, though. It was probably like that Twitch streamer who started boning his girlfriend live on stream. He just forgot to turn his Twitch stream off. Oh, yeah. I didn't write it down.
No, are you serious?
Oh, yeah. It was like, okay, guys, have a great time. Clickety, 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 click. Come here, honey. All right. Yeah. And,
yeah, there have been Twitch has had a few crazy moments when it's come to video gaming. I mean, you've had the incidents like that. You've had incidents with major, LOL players that decided to pleasure without turning the camera off. Hell, you've even recently, you've had, on a slightly less humorous note, you've had someone held up at gunpoint live on Twitch.
Yep.
Which is something we'll be getting into very, very shortly, because we are getting close to the time. Right. Now, let's see. I'm going through, mention that. I will mention two very, very short other things for stories, and then we'll go into more stories that we have, and then we'll hit that issue, because that's an important one. It's all fun and games until someone gets hurt, as they say. So another funny, weird, bizarre thing that has happened, and this happened in Eve. How many of you guys play Eve?
Yep.
Eve is a brilliant game, for those of you who are unaware of it. Eve is a fantastic game. But there is back in the day, the way Eve works is you have a pod that you're in, and then you have a spaceship that your pod goes into, and that's how you basically move around, etc. And when people blow up your spaceship, your pod is ejected, and you then roam until you can get your hands on another one. But back in the day in Eve, they could blow your pod up, and what would be floating in outer space is your corpse. So it would just say corpse. And there was somebody who enjoyed collecting the corpses in the game that he found. And he would just go through and go, oh, yoink, that's mine. That corpse is mine. That corpse is mine. That corpse is mine. Not certain what he did with these corpses or why he was collecting them.
Don't hear it.
But he was collecting corpses. So there is a weird thing that's occurred, and it's still remembered to this day, even though that story is many, many years old.
That's creepy. That's just all sorts of creepy.
And then, of course, something I think we can all say that we have experienced at one time or another. What is known as the disconnect boss. You know, that moment in time when you have been waiting for a boss to drop a particular item, and you have been waiting and waiting for months, and you down the boss every single week, and you are still trying to get your hands on it. The guild gets to the boss goes to die, 1% health left, you disconnect, boss goes down, you come back into the game, and you do not have access to the loot. That has happened to our dear poor Shanugi, who is one of our AVU people at MMOBuff, but he is also a member of Enigma, and that has happened to him. He had to wait another 4 months before he could get his hands on the offsword, or the offhand dagger sword for the rogue, back in the good old days of vanilla.
Whoa.
So this was before they implemented, you have 2 hours to transfer this to somebody else who has access to it. That wasn't in effect back in the good old days. Just saying.
That would suck.
Oh, yeah. The pain. He logs back in right after the boss dies, and all he hears is his entire guild going, dude, we are so sorry. Dude, we are so sorry. There are people who believe that games are rigged for the loot that they'll drop. So I know somebody who can give you a valid reason for why. If he's playing a particular character, if you're looking for gear for a certain class, you take his character along because his character sees more of that type of loot than anything else, and he bets it's seeded. There is discussion for that, but we're starting to get into the good old-fashioned, stories of stories. Anyway.
Ready? I got you. We're going to machine gun these real quick.
Yes.
To just knock them out of the way to talk about L's seriousness.
Oh, yes.
There was a raider, continued to raid, when his wife or ex-wife came into the house with a gun, pissed off that he was playing video games. When she started shooting, he took her seriously and then logged out of the raid. Really happened. I got reported in Vanilla WoW for fixing the server economy. I was buying and selling rune cloth and keeping at a stupidly high rate because I was selling fish at the same time. And actually, it's the only strike I ever had on my main Warcraft account because they're like, you can't do that. I'm like, well, it's not my fault. This also was the reason I instituted a second and third account so I can no longer get in trouble for doing econ stuff. There was a guild where the GM thought that during an alt raid night to help some other folks get gear ready, it would be a great idea to give his girlfriend, who never raided, who was just there, something over somebody who needed it. A bunch of people just like, in peace, we're number 3 on the server, you suck, we're out, and went to a better guild that night. That was actually kind of crazy. It's one of those things where like, this is never going to happen, and then the whole thing just shatters and disappears. There were, this was another sex one. Man. During,
what brings all the sex?
the gold DKP runs, I'm sure some of you folks remember this, they became really prominent in Wrath, in World of Warcraft. There were always guilds selling stuff, but they became like pugs running it became a whole big deal in Wrath. There were females who would trade personal time if you'd buy their item. Like, hey, I don't have 2,000 gold, but I do have a webcam. You got it. I got you. So, that was also a thing.
What is wrong with you women? You don't need to do that. Jeez.
I just want to state this out loud, that if I was a female, I would do that all the time. Anyways, and there was a guy who pretended to be a girl, and when he got called out, he then said he was doing it to write an article, and then actually wrote an article on his guild website. Yeah, and that was the one where like it kind of gets into like, where do you draw that line? Like, and there were people that were really upset at this person for doing it, because you're lying to people and all this other sort of stuff, and potential situations you get in with people and you find out, whatever. That's a whole, like that whole online catfish sort of a deal could be a whole show, because what do you do? What do you do when somebody's like, I really like this girl who has a penis and I don't know what to do? I've only been in that situation once or twice, but it's very, even me as a big shell, don't give a shit guy, it's very difficult to work through, because I don't just want to be like, yeah, screw him, whatever, because like emotions are there and it's prominent. But let's fast forward. We're moving towards the where is it too much, the serious part, right?
Mm-hmm. This is where we're going.
Yeah.
See, we're bringing you a whole bunch of good stories, things from the past. These are memories. These are absurd things that happen in gaming. Gaming is a great source of memories, but it's also, unfortunately, a source of something that goes beyond bullying. And there are some things that occur that are just way beyond what needs to actually happen. And we're going to broach one of those things now. So how would we like to do this one? Because we didn't give anybody warning that we were going to throw this in the mix. Not really.
Well, there have been a couple of serious things. I spoke about this before. We'll talk about one that's not as well. I mean, it's still serious, but there was a child, a teenager, was talking about going to hurt themselves, and they got reported. And Blizzard at the time had called local authorities because they have all the information, and the local authorities showed up at this kid's house. And, got back online and was like, these cops just showed up and I hate all of you and blah, blah, blah. And we were like, if you were a child who really needed support services, this is a big deal. And, I think it's great that, they sent somebody. And you also now realize, and he was really shooken up too, that, like, they were like, if you're really needing help, we'll get you some help. If you're just doing this, this is a misuse, of the public service. So he kind of got a wake-up call. But there is that line when we talk about this next case where it goes too far. The story that we have here is, I'm not sure if some of you folks are, indoctrinated into the Twitch culture, but there's a streamer. His name was Phantom Lord. He, at the time, was can't remember what game he started streaming. He's a big streamer on Twitch, and there was a group called Derp that, for fun, decided they were going to mess with him. So what happened was, every time he'd log into a game, they would attack authentication servers. Now gaming companies, and this just happened in the last couple months, gaming companies are now protecting their authentication servers because nobody ever really bothered or attacked them before. Now that's a thing. You can't get into the game if your auth servers are down, and they're very vulnerable. So what they did is they started taking down games. So it started with Quake Live, and then I think it was like League of Legends and a bunch of different games. And then what happened, like Dota 2, then what happened is they called the group DERP, as they call themselves. They called the local police and said there was a hostage situation inside Phantom Lord's house. But what they told everybody publicly was that they ordered a bunch of pizzas. So what happened to this guy is he sees a pizza guy coming up, and he was like, oh, they're trolling me, whatever. But there were also cops surrounding the house because they thought there was legitimately a hostage situation where people were going to get hurt inside. This kid, Phantom Lord guy, he got wrapped up. They zipped him up, threw him in the back of a cop car. They cleared the whole, the scene, and it was quite an ordeal. And he still streams on Twitch, but this is one of those things where that line gets crossed. And there are also, and I know we don't have time, but there are also a lot of those lines that get crossed for females, and especially for female online streamers and celebrities or what have you, where they have to very much protect their private information because some people will take that stuff too far. So we wanted to bring that to you folks too. Did you guys have any comments you want to throw out about that?
Do you want to say something, Screen, before I do?
You go ahead with this, because obviously I know a number of female gamers, and they've and streamers that have had this sort of problem before. But being of the female orientation, you probably have a slightly better view on it than I do.
Well, I'm gonna just go back to the statement. We're all gamers. makes a difference what we are, whether we're male or female. There are going to be different ways to target each type of gender if you so want to, in order to cause problems, to troll, to bring some kind of pain or frustration to somebody for whatever reason. That's just the nature of how it works. But, you know, this almost gets me on to what is known as my soapbox for internet freedom, in a way. You know, there is something to be said for how do you draw the line between security and privacy, yet still keep things free and open. And it's a debate that most security professionals are still debating out. There is no clear-cut answer to this question. You know, is it safe enough for us to say the government should open up everything that they have for everyone to read it so that we have a free nation, but at the same time keep ourselves private and not let anybody know what, you know, anime we're watching that week, or, you know, what game we happen to be playing? It's a very difficult line to cross. But when you start getting into a situation where people are being preyed upon, that to me just it turns gaming from being this culture of enjoyment where we have all these stories that we can bring you to almost a terrorist kind of area. You know, so how many people are afraid to stand up about an issue, regardless of what the issue is, because they're afraid they're going to be attacked for something. There are so many ways to attack people in today's day and age. I mean, even talking about this, we're making targets of ourselves for anybody who chooses to come after us, kind of a deal. It's a very there's Blank's answer to it. You know, it's a very
he's started learning to count.
I counted to potato. I counted to my give a damn's broken.
But yes, you know, if anything, folks, you know, we don't expect the people who watch this to be responsible for this, because you guys are awesome. But there are always going to be people who want to try to push that envelope that little bit further by picking on somebody on a server, going that extra mile to try to drive somebody away. I mean, how many times do you guys actually, and maybe it's just me, but how many of you guys actually read like YouTube comments and comments that people put onto various posts in a variety of locations that usually start out with something along the lines of, "You should die"?
Nope.
This seems to be the ultimate answer for the trolls. The ultimate answer is, you know, I don't like what you're doing, so I'm just going to take it to the farthest extreme.
I actually follow it's something on Twitter called Don't Read the Comments. And I actually had a hard time reading, especially during big giveaways, reading messages that I would get from people on Twitch, because a lot of them would be on alt accounts or, you know, whatever, and it'd be like, excuse the language, things are going to get rough here, you're a faggot, you should kill yourself, or I hope your daughter dies so you have nothing to live for and you kill yourself. I've heard, we hope you trip and fall so you're stuck in a wheelchair all the time. Like, and that's just towards people who didn't win a giveaway. We're not even talking about the sort of people who stand up for something they agree or they believe in, or something they stand for. Mm-hmm. Like, if people feel that they have a place to just say whatever they want to, they're going to. I'm a big one for repercussions and not conclusions, but you say something to me. I've said this before. I live in Maine. You don't like me, feel free to come on to my house. I got 2 fists and a way to protect my home if I need to. The world is a scary place, but you will never invade the place where I live, and I try to give that sort of empowerment to everybody else in whatever way that they need it. YouTube comments are crappy. Twitch can be crappy, but that is the nature of the internet. What I really enjoy now is that the internet is much more open than it was 20 years ago. Like, you can find that person on their Twitter, which is also the scary part too, but like, if somebody is lying or causing crap or whatever, it's so much easier to be able to find them, and there's much more responsibility being brought to folks. You are not as anonymous as you used to be. You still can be in certain measures and whatnot, but if you run around saying you're gonna, you know, hurt somebody, kill them, do whatever, you can be found and brought and made accountable for that. So.
Absolutely. Rakashi says it's the safety of being behind a desk. You're so far away, so it's much easier to scold or tear someone down. And I think that's only part of it. There's this And Screen, you may have seen it. I don't know if you happen to be a fan of Darren Brown, one of our illusionists that we have here in the United Kingdom. But he did a television show which was basically the nature of the mob. You know, what happens with the mob mentality. And some people could sit there and say that Anonymous was formed from the 4chan mob mentality. Because, you know, someone got an idea and then it spread and it went viral and everyone had his reaction to it. But the mob mentality started out with, you know, we're going to be messing with somebody's life a little bit. You know, we're going to let the audience make decisions as to what choices are going to happen to this individual in this show. And you guys get to pick, what do you want to have happen? Do you want him to get 50 quid and a raise from his boss? Or do you want him to be told he's losing his job? And they're given positive and negative choices to choose from. Over the course of the show, they got more and more negative to the point where they actually asked for this person's individual personal home stuff to be destroyed. You know, taking baseball bats to a television. It's a mob mentality that for some reason, if you're around people who say it's okay to take it to that extreme, all of a sudden everyone starts to jump on the bandwagon more and more and more. And less people wanted to have him have a good day. They wanted to see him suffer. It's almost like this human psychology thing. And there's this huge amount of work behind what went into the creation of all of this. But this is one of the things why we stress, think for yourselves. It's okay to not agree with the person sitting next to you. But if you take something blindly and you don't use critical thinking, you can actually destroy communities. You can destroy individuals' lives. You can destroy beautiful things. And that joke, that horror joke that we hear all the time, this is why we can't have pretty things. And that's us getting real here. And do you want to make comment to what Crazy Graphics said? Because I want to make certain it gets onto this video for YouTube. Because I saw you point up to it.
It's absolutely true. And I've said this before. I will say commentary because I believe it, or it's plain face, whatever. Like when I, give Ed, guff because of his hair, being emo, or whatever. If I give, a new crap for being emo or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's just friendly banter or whatever. There are folks who are just recently. Somebody posted on Twitter. Somebody I'm no longer friends with because of their inability to self-critique. If you're looking around yourself and you're like, I'm lonely, nobody likes me, I keep losing friends and stuff like that, you might want to look inside. I am upfront and honest about my stuff, and that makes me able to accept myself, and people accept me. Like, you guys understand, if my viewers understand, gaming companies and developers look at me like, I'm going to be doing something for PAX, and one of the comments that they first made was, okay, well, we want to make sure that when you critique stuff that you're honest, that you don't just kind of kiss up. And I'm like, oh, sweetheart, you don't know who I am. Like, that's not a problem. And the other person on the call laughed and was like, oh, no, the reason I wanted to have Blankspace do this was because this critique is going to be dead on. People that don't have that and that lash out, they're not happy with themselves, or they're being, one of the biggest reasons a bully bullies is because at home they're being bullied. It's one of the first telltale signs. If there's a kid that's lashing out at school at other people, it's because they can't deal with what's happening normally at home or in another social situation. Those that are like that just don't have a positive place to deal with that, or a positive way to deal with it, or it's just their way of passing it on. I had something negative, I don't know what to do with it, so I'm going to tell everybody they're faggots on a YouTube board. And maybe that dumping, that releasing of the emotional valve makes them feel a little bit better. It's sad, but it's funny because the older you get, or maybe even, I don't want to say enlightened, but when you start to realize these things, you actually feel bad for people like that. When I meet a fake person or somebody who's lying to themselves, and they're like, well, you're just an asshole. I'm like, I know I am. Like, you're going to hear exactly how I feel. It might be my perspective. It may not be your worldview, but it is mine, and I'm okay with that. I'm sorry you're not okay, and that you're lying to yourself, and that you're willing to screw people over, or at least not be honest with it. You're going to screw people over. Say that, you're okay with that. That's who you are. Oh, well, I didn't mean to. Get out of here. Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to other people. You'd be more happier if you accept things for what they are, both yourself and your surroundings.
Well, You're talking to two that have had more experience with trolls than I have. I don't have the time for it. I don't give a crap. You can throw whatever you want at me. I don't care. And then, but you know, that's the way I built the people. That's the way I built the community around myself. Is that I've been in a very privileged position in building Afterlife, that I've had the opportunity to start from the beginning, build a community that's no drama, and we've never had that. We've never had those problems, and I've been very privileged in that respect, and people know where the line is with that. So all I can say is have some tolerance. Everyone's going to have bad days, everyone's going to have good days. Have some tolerance for people who are giving you crap, and just ignore it, and have some tolerance if you feel like someone's irritating you, and don't step over that line. Everyone makes mistakes. Even the LA Police Department, who were called out in summer 2013 to the Call of Duty development studio for an armed standoff with a life-size mannequin.
Oh yeah.
There's a what from the corner of the screen. What? Yeah. And, you know, in the end, folks, it's very simple. Just love one another.
No,
But
I don't want to love everybody. I want to give middle fingers to all the shitty people out there.
oh, but see, there's a way to love people even
I
if
am the
they're
Batman
cruel.
of the internet.
You-
I'm the Batman of the internet.
Are you the blank space that this internet needs, not what this internet wants? I can't remember the phrase. but-
Definitely not the one the internet wants, for sure. But the way that I look at it is there are so many people who are afraid to stand up, be spoken for, or to... I'm not like that. I may not understand, like, let's pick something dangerous. I may not fully understand extreme feminism. I may not. I may not fully understand the struggle and the perception, but I can respect somebody standing up for what they believe in and putting their thoughts out there, especially in a well-written debate, conversation. I think that's great. What I don't like is shitty to be shitty, fake because you don't know, and just people being ignorant. I'm not, you know, I'm not about...
Yeah.
I'm not about that. And I want to keep pushing that because I want more people to know that it's okay. It's okay for you to be you. It's okay for you to be fat or skinny or unhealthy or need help or ask for help and all these sort of things that everybody's like, no, I just want to live in my little bubble and it's okay. Get out. It's okay to be you. It's okay to be flawed and have mistakes. Just be honest with yourself, and you'll be okay. It's just it's very important to me, especially because I have my daughter, where I look at the world and I'm like, this place sucks. This world sucks. I want her to grow up open-minded, accepting, intelligent, knowledgeable, and not afraid to stand up for whatever she believes in, even if she, you know, is like huge about animals and believes that all the animals need to be treated like humans or something that I would consider ridiculous. If she stands up and says it respectfully and intelligently, there's something to be said for that.
There is. And we hope, at least in today's show, that not only have you had good laughs, but you've gotten some good information as well. And, you know, I have to say I am thankful, Ed, that you have never had to be on the receiving end of vitriol in the form of text.
Not to the extent that you guys have had to deal with it.
Yeah, you haven't gotten
maybe
the
that's
death threats yet. This is not to say I want you to receive them, but, you know, I am thankful you haven't had to.
In fairness, grew up in Glasgow, had death threats in the street. At least the scum did it to my face, or well, across the street. But still, you know.
He was across the street. The only real extreme thing that I've had happen in recent years is someone threatened to poison my dog. Let's just say that was not a very friendly conversation. I don't remember it. I literally saw red. I don't remember the instance, but they threatened to poison my dog and told me to go back to the country that I came from.
Cute. That's cute. I had somebody ask me for my address, and I gave it to them. All right, they were like, I don't remember what it said. But I was like, here's my address, so you know. I got 2 fists and a way to protect my house. Feel free to come in any time. I'm up most hours of the night. You better catch
Maybe-
me when I'm sleeping. And just kind of, everyone was like, don't respond like that. You're inviting crazy. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. You know what?
Yeah.
Yeah. What am I going to do? But those happen. I don't even, like, people ask me why I don't go on Reddit. I get some, like, whenever I do a big giveaway, like, there's a couple of games I'm doing alpha stuff for right now, and I'm sure I'll have giveaways on the stream, and it'll be the same deal. Like, the hype train comes in. Everyone's like, give me stuff, give me stuff, give me stuff. And then I'm the huge a-hole, or I didn't do it the way that's fair to them, or blah, 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 and you should kill yourself. Woo, and then the hype dies down. So it's definitely interesting. And I'm actually glad that, Ed, you haven't had a lot of that experience, because it can be a very emotionally, it takes a toll on you. Like, I've even looked at my stream and I'm like, guys, look, today I'm just like, I'm done. Like, I read through 200 messages. Out of 200 of them, 5 or 10 of them were like super nice, awesome, positive ones. 150 of them were, I'm your Nigerian uncle, please send me a key and you will save my life and I will come to America and give you my money. And a bunch of the rest of them were, just whatever, just crazy stuff. And like mean, crappy things. And it can wear on you. And I'm glad you haven't had to go through that. I really, really am glad.
I am.
So.
Because, they always say don't feed the trolls. But in the end, it can be just one of those shocking moments, especially if you're someone who actually takes a moment and periodically reflects internally to see, where am I at? Am I happy with who I am? That whole speech that Blank gave earlier today, it does kind of make you pause and go, what did I do wrong now? So it's like, okay, wait a second. I've obviously done something, because for someone to have that kind of extreme response to something that's being done, you have to first sanity check it. You always run it past other people first, and you have to say, guys, should I pay attention to this or not? And you hope that the people you're with are very honest with you, because sometimes we learn from vitriolic comments, like Troy said from, Motika Games. Sometimes you have to dig past the vitriol to see what their real problem is with what's going on. And that can be one of the hardest things to do in a community. If you've got somebody really angry about something and they're angry enough to start getting really loud and venomous and lots of other V words, because I seem to be stuck on them today because of V for Vendetta and the fact that we mentioned Anonymous and the masks, all of these things combining together to form Voltron, another V.
Oh my God.
Anyway, if you have someone that angry, there's obviously something at the root that's causing that level. And if you can figure out what it is, it's a lot easier to tackle. But sometimes it's really hard to get past there.
I'll be right back.
I am going to leave the stream running because I want to make certain he comes back, because that look on his face has me a little bit worried. So, Ed.
Oh, it's probably just he sent his foreign address to that guy. It's fine.
Yeah, great. This is one of those moments where the guy shows up when we're doing a show about things like this. How does that sound to you guys? Sound good?
Like the crazies come across the street. It'll be fine. I mean, everyone has their fair share of abuse and of haters, and I've not had death threats, most certainly. I mean, the worst I've had is, I think, I've appeared on a YouTube video from, I was in the background of a YouTube video from a fairly prominent streamer, and basically got the piss ripped out of me on YouTube comments. And it's like, you read a couple of comments and then you go, meh, kids, don't care. That's probably about the worst the internet's managed to do to me. Why bother?
It all depends on what your intention is. Ed wants to change the world. I want to change the world. Blank wants to own the world. I say this while he's not here. Blank wants to change the world. Da-dun, da-dun, dun, dun, da. Okay, so some comments from the chat, just to throw this in. Pinky says, Screenager, I'm going to love you to death. Congratulations. And yes, I did say Voltron. Aussie pointed out the vocal minority of haters are surrounded by the silent majority of the disapproving supporters you may likely have. However, while that would silence the minority of physically around the majority, typically, the interweb doesn't have that physical proximity, thus not the same threat/consequences. And yes, disapproving of the haters. Yes, yes, yes. And that's true. Bacon. Gotta love bacon. So right, while we're waiting for Screen to come back. Wow, I've just misplaced you guys in my head.
Wow, we're one and the same. We're just like one giant PvP troll to you, aren't we? That's all we are.
No, you're not. I absolutely adore you both individually.
You just want me for my girlfriend.
Hi. Okay, go ahead, Blank. What happened? That's a look of fun. You all right there?
Oh, so we took two different house. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? We took two different households, right? And we put them in one. So that's why my apartment, like, this is what it looks like because we gotta.
You do know? You mean the stuff? You don't mean like the houses? You mean like
no, we
I
took
have
two
a
houses.
house.
No, we're squishing them together. We're squishing two houses together. It's magical. Something they do in Minecraft, I think. Anyways, so there was all of this stuff to sell, which was awesome. So it was like, and my girlfriend's really good at selling crap. So she's like, I sold this, I sold this, I sold that. And so like these people keep showing up and they're like, hi. I'm like, I have no idea who the hell you are. And they're like, well, here's some money. So that's what that was. There was a guy that was like, oh, I bought this and this and a TV and an iron and an ironing board and like all this random stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you for money. And yeah, well, I gotta go back to work. What do you do for work? I'm on. Listen, it would be too weird to explain. I'm doing porno on my computer. I gotta go. Like I was like, I gotta go. Like I gotta. Pretty much so much easier.
I'm illiterate.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Have you ever
Thank
tried to
you so
explain
much
this
for
to people?
equating our Campfire show to porno.
It's
emotional porn. It's fine.
It is. I am stripping and bearing my soul here. Boo! Oh, stop that.
You tagline.
I'm just saying. No, but on a funny note, if you've ever tried to describe gaming and what you do, or even like streaming and stuff, people look at you and it's like, oh. So now I just tell people I do online streaming on my channel for charity, and people kind of get that. So it's like watching ESPN on the computer. That's what people will do. I'm like, oh yeah. You subscribe and you get to watch ESPN Minecraft or whatever. Well, that's pretty cool. Sounds stupid, but that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's my life. So,
Right. Okay. Well, we are now aware that Blank is safe, and we know he has to go pick up the Viking Princess very shortly. I'm going to quickly go through and let you guys know what's going on MMOBuff this week. Tomorrow, Blizzard Forecast. We're starting to give away pre-orders to Warlords of Draenor. We actually have the boxes. They're sitting back at the studio, or else I'd lift it and wave it in front of you. We are going to be giving them away. So that's something you might want to participate in. We also have some amazing information coming from Blank, from a couple of our other hosts. Our biggest show, the Blizzard Forecast, brought to you by Mizpah and his radio disc jockey voice, Vampire Man.
Grandpa Man?
Vampire Man.
No,
Grandpa
I'm going with Grandpa Man. Grandpa Man, Mizpah.
Whoops. Then Thursday at 1 p.m. This is a very different show. It is not just about gaming. It is actually about game development. And we have Chris on from 19 Stone Ninja's game studio. And he's coming on to give a presentation and to talk to us about what it takes to actually have characters interact with the environment. Things like power slides, things like grabbing, climbing, wall walking, and the difficulties that can be inherent with the game engines. And we're working with Unity. And that's Thursday. That's going to be a really exciting show. Friday night, 8 p.m. Cosmotronic. Gazimov will not be with us, but we will have Kai. Cosmotronic.
No, I definitely heard Cosmotrotic.
Mm-hmm.
There's a definite need for change of headers after tonight.
Right. So Gazimov is not going to be with us. I may poke one of our other many, many, many WildStar players in the MMOBuff team to fill in for him. And Kai will be there, Mispa will be there, and I will be there.
Kai Dream.
Stop trying to kill me!
Is Kai Dream going to be there? I hear she's amazing at WildStar PvP.
Okay.
Amy did not laugh at that at all. I personally think what you should do is you should have a rotating wheel of MMOBuff hosts. Every 10 minutes, just spin the wheel and bring one of us on. Just have us all waiting in the wings.
As much as I would love to do that, I do believe in letting people have days off. But yes, so we have the Cosmotronic going on about WildStar. There's a potential we're going to have another guest on from Carbine. I can't make mention of whom, but
that's from Carbine.
Carbine
Studios.
Carbine. Saturday at 8 p.m. Dr. Marshmallows and I are digging into Infinity Wars. It's our new TCG that we're looking at in Top Draw. And we have codes to give away for people to get free stuff. So if you are a TCG player and you like Infinity Wars, you can get it in Steam, and I will have codes for you on Saturday. Then Monday, Mizpa and I are back to debate things out. And I think we're actually going to be going into a debate about subscription models again. Digging in a little bit deeper than the last time that we happened to do payment models. That'll be an interesting one. And then next Tuesday, I am back with the hostesses, with the mostesses, the two who are my better half on the Campfire, Blankspace and Screen. And do we have a guest for Tuesday, Ed?
Not as yet, but we'll work something out this week. Pretty much, I'll get something sorted. We did have guests, and then everything just kind of went, all the guests went, "Nah." And
Nah. Did you know Vikings didn't really have horns? Nah.
That's
if I had
exactly
$1
what
for
they did.
every dude who showed up on the stream, it's like, hey, you know the Vikings really didn't have horns? You stupid. Nah. Hey, why do you call yourself Viking? Aren't you in America? Nah. I'm done. Cut the stream. Turn it all off. We're done.
Wow.
I'm going.
And that leaves me to say to you, Blank, to you, Screen, thank you so much for, again, taking time out of a Tuesday. I know how busy you both are, especially with admin work, to come talk about gaming absurdity. Next week's topic will depend upon who we have join us. But a huge thank you to every single one of you who brought stories to us, funny, etc. We will be tackling a Campfire story next week about a member who wants to join your team who is deaf. What do you do? And we'll be discussing that next week. And that face from you, Screen, is shocking. Are you okay?
No, it's just interesting. It's just the fact that I did this first I heard about next week's Campfire. It wasn't shocking, it was like, I didn't know that! I should read the show notes.
Serious face.
Sad face. I try so hard. And I just thwarted at every turn. Nobody loves me. Everybody hates me. I'm going to go eat worms. Big ones, little ones, itty bitty tiny ones, worms in every way. First you bite the heads off, then you suck the guts up, then you throw the skins away.
Can we have a stream with Josie and Mizpa in here where all we do is just like poke fun of them the whole time?
We could.
We just have like
we could do that.
We'd be like, "Oh, this is Mizpa, and the next thing we're gonna do is press this magic button here, and welcome to the next topic in the show today."
I will ask Mizfa if he's free for next week, and we will have Mizfa on. I mean, I'd want to get some actual show numbers, but I can live with it, for 1 week.
Please, don't follow, don't subscribe, run away now. It's okay. And then Josie, with the most random, like, she says stuff, and I'm over here, I mute my microphone, I'm like, what the fuck is she talking about? I'm like, oh, it's a reference to this. What is it? Oh, yeah. I love you, sweetheart.
I am so pissed
It's
off.
absolutely
I'm sitting here going, my hosts don't love me no more. Oh God, this is a shame.
No, sweetheart, we love you. If we didn't love you, okay, I've been on a couple of podcasts where, like, I sit there and I'm like this. Blankspace, what do you gotta say? Oh yeah, this is really interesting. You're all stupid, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool.
I think I remember seeing that. I can't remember.
If I enjoy you, this is how I show my hearts. It's this. So
no one's gonna get the reference to this at all, and I do apologize.
It's elephants and inappropriate parts.
No, it is not. No, it is not. Do not make me like.
Yeah. Oh God! You wait until the day we decide to have half the MMOBuff team on with us. It's just gonna be. Oh, we're gonna get nothing done.
Well, there will. I will tell you this: we are going to, at some point in time, and I want to wait till we have, more people who are watching and things like that. We will pick a day, and we will literally have every single host that we have on for just a fun day for people to just either poke fun at us, tease us, and just have one giant thing. And to let you guys know, if I can get the entire team on, now I say if I can get the entire team on, that's 21 of us.
We need to do it for charity. We need to all hang out for 24 hours
Roasting
for
MMO
charity,
Buff for charity.
and just 24 hours, because I know, like, Kai's only going to be able to do, like, 4 hours of PvP, and before her butt's tired, she'll have to lay down.
Well, that's because you're going to be on her bum.
The whole time. Yeah, Miss Fun will probably make it. I wonder, actually, we should do a poll. Because I can do 24 hours. But I wonder how many other folks will be able to stay up and continue to play games for 24 hours. And the best part is we don't even have to be playing the same game. We just need to all be visually hanging out. This will be our visual hangout room. And I am down for that. Charlie Brown, sorry.
Sounds like a plan, although I have been made mention, with all due respect, Josie, if you do that, everyone will just talk the whole show of how you failed that amazing macro, aka mouse hack.
I wish I could make like a YouTube. Actually,
you can make a YouTube. It's not that difficult, Blank. All you need is some streaming software and recording software.
Does anyone have any aloe for that sick burn? Oh, true.
Troll school. It's starting to work.
All right, someone chalk that up. That's 25 episodes in. First troll.
First massive successive troll. Josie. Game's about to end. Throws it from the other end. Boosh for the win. Way to go, No, seriously,
that trolling. I do, but
no, that was good.
I'm so excited now. I'm sitting there going, I've trolled successfully. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
It's good. It's going to take her 6 hours to get to sleep now.
She's not going to sleep all night.
I trolled Blankspace. Oh wait! I need to Twitter this right now. Give me 1 second.
That's all she's gonna do. This is the thing. When it comes to like gaming stuff, it's gonna be like I have to tell everybody. Guess what? Like she's gonna go to get food at the shopping market and be like, do you know what I did today? I trolled Blankspace. You should be impressed. Like I should get something for free because that just happened. Which is also, by the way, this kind of weird stuff I do when I go out and do things out in public.
The secret inside scoop on Blank's marketing tactics.
Hold on, I definitely need to tweet this now. But go ahead, as you were saying. Yep.
Oh, so honey, how was your day? Oh, it was great. So I won $1 million, and all of that doesn't matter because I trolled Blankspace. Woohoo! Are we gonna end the show ever?
Yes.
It's like 4:30.
I just needed to tweet out that I had successfully trolled you.
Here, because I heart you. I will tweet your retweet. That happened. It's a legitimate thing now.
But as you were saying, you wanted to know about YouTube things, and I totally derailed us by doing that.
Well, I've decided I'm gonna start making dumb YouTube videos because I have Kai was supposed to help me. I got Sony Vegas on here, but I can't seem to get it to work with the things and the beeps and the boops. So I'm literally just going to make the easiest, derpiest videos I can. And I think one of them I'm going to make is going to be your mouse hack. I think that's going to be one of them that I make.
You know what? You have my complete and utter permission to do it.
I don't need your permission to stay on the internet. But come on. You need anybody's permission to do anything.
Well, I will support. I'll retweet it.
My life is complete. Take me now, God.
Right.
We're done.
And on that note, I definitely think this is... Can you do me a favor, Screen? Just reach out through your doorway and wave goodbye. Toodle pip. Well, I just saw a foot.
Making tea.
Bye.